Hi everybody, and welcome to Crimson Court Abridged. This is an abridged version of the session, and I will be posting one of these every single week after each session, probably on Wednesday or Thursday. The abridged sessions, my hope is for them to be anywhere between 40 minutes to an hour long, depending on what happens in the session. This is a way for you to catch up and be able to be there for the live stream without having to catch up on about 4 hours worth of D&D session. So with that, Crimson Court Abridged, hope you enjoy. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's episode of the Crimson Court. So let's go ahead and dive into the session. So with that, returning to the manor, all of you gathered here. Does anybody have anything else they're doing on this day?
So, Edwin is going to pace in his room for a little bit. No one sees this, but he's talking himself up. And all right, you've got this. And he walks out of his door with a smile and a happy face, and he goes to each one of the siblings and knocks on their door, and or if they're not at their door, finds them. And he is going to each one of them say, if I could gather all of you in the vault here in about 15 minutes.
Okay.
We go to the vault.
So as you make your way up to the vault, it's the same thing as the doors into the Archmage. You take the key and you just kind of press it against the wall, and almost like a whole bunch of Rubik's cubes, the stone just kind of shifts and like it shifts and will bend inwards and like rotate in and shift and rotate in and shift and rotate in until it just unlocks. And there is this like watery kind of puddle as a doorway to allow you to step through.
He gestures everyone to enter. So,
I mean, when we go in, like, noticing Xanthi, Kaylin's gonna raise an eyebrow and look at you, Edwin. Our guide, what's all this about?
Edwin has a smile the entire time, but as soon as the door shuts, his demeanor slightly changes. Okay, sorry. I have something very important that I want to talk to all of you about. And it is, we have to be very careful with the information. I needed to talk to you all in here specifically because of my conversation the other night with the spy master. Whew, how do I put this? And he looks at Xanthi.
Gives you a look back of just like, fuck it, I'll say it.
He gives a look back of like, don't you fucking dare.
Edwin, are you okay?
I'm fine. Yes. Overall, after I tell you this, I may not be. You may be very, very angry with me, and you have every right to yell at me, smack me. Just please do not cast magic at me. The spy master talked to me the other night, and he made it very apparent that there is a secret that he intends to use against me. And it is a secret that I've been keeping for quite a while. And I hope after I tell you this, you don't hate me, but I'll just go ahead and say it. I have a wife and a child that live in the North. Okay, I thought it wouldn't be as quiet as it is right now. I know it's a lot of information, but please someone say something.
How
Wait,
long,
Edwin. Kaylin looks at Xanthi and back at Edwin.
What did Xanthi say?
How long?
I was like, you're
Why
not
is this taking so
sure?
long?
No.
Sorry,
It kinda-
sorry, I called off. I talked to him.
Take
Um,
after dad, you know what I'm saying?
He says, see, this is the part that you're going to really hate me. I have been married for more than 13 years, and my daughter is 11 years old. Your
This-
niece.
This is why you've been leaving all this time.
Yes,
Can I ask a question?
please.
Why would we be mad about that?
Well, in my head, I thought I've kept this secret for more than 13 years, and that you've never gotten to meet your niece or my wife. That's what I thought, at least.
Edwin, all this time I thought you just didn't want to be around Maybe me, us here. I thought, if anything, you just didn't want to be here. But you were leaving for a reason that is nothing to be mad about. If anything, I feel like this is a much better reason than some silly little mission.
Okay. not
Sorry,
so-
I didn't mean that to be.
It's okay. I understand.
Edwin, this is wonderful. This isn't a bad thing. The Nornathi people are they're so interesting that they remind me a lot of my own people. I don't know why this is bad. This is great. I would love to meet them. This is wonderful, Edwin.
I'm glad someone thinks so.
Does the High King of the Nornathi know?
Oh, yes.
And he didn't want you telling Talon.
He understood our wishes that we would do it when the time came.
They not also have politics.
They do,
You're
but they
wanting
do
to
not.
keep a family out of it. It's hardly the way to do so.
Well, the Nornathi don't really have a marriage, so to say. It's not part of their culture. That's just from ours. Joe,
But
right?
you and
That's
Astrid are married, yes.
yes. We are married because Father. Oh my gosh, what is it? Aldrin. He married us.
What's her name? Your daughter.
Rhea.
Well, I'm excited. I think this is wonderful.
It
We should bring
is-
them here.
And that brings me to my next thing I wanted to talk about. I need to bring them here. Because they are now in danger. And I
Wait,
beg all of you to please do not say anything outside of this room.
wait, Edwin, I'm hold on. I'm confused. The spy master knows about this, and he's threatening you with it? I don't understand that. Like, why would he threaten you about it? For what?
Just before I say all of it, please, just promise me. Do not say anything outside of this room. Promise
Fair.
me. And he looks to Merrick.
Sure.
Does he mean that?
You can tell Merrick's not happy about this conversation, but you don't sense any deceit.
Talked with the spy master, and he made it very apparent that although I do not want the crown or the throne, I have no choice because the church deems it so, and the church wants me to fight for the crown. And to persuade me, he threatened the lives of my wife and child.
It's treason, Edwin.
I understand.
Well, he can't
Okay.
do that.
Well, he can and he has, and I don't know what to do. I could easily tell Father and try him for treason, but you don't say something like that without having a backup plan. You don't threaten the people of someone they love without knowing that you're untouchable. If he gets called for treason, he must have some sort of spies or network that is willing to carry out some order should that happen. I need to bring them here. I need to get them safe. I need to make sure that I can see them and that they are protected before any plan of action starts or we do anything.
Bringing them here will also remove any, well, advantage he has over you.
I agree.
He is here, well, if they are here, then he cannot threaten them so openly, not in Crown's Rest. And he cannot threaten her family if, well, she is the daughter of the king. That will have his own protection, surely. But doing so would also risk war with Adaria, which will bring no one benefit. So I think you're right. We bring them here. We make our move from there. knowing they're safe will remove anything he has above you in terms of fear of their lives.
You don't know how good it feels to say this out loud.
Do you have people you trust to get them here?
I do. Well, not to Adaria, not all the way here.
Surely her father can also assist, though, yes?
Potentially, but I have to send word, and I have not yet because I fear that the spy master is watching my every move. Which means if I send a letter, then the raven I send might end up dead along the way, and the note I send with it gone.
Well, what if one of us send a letter? Via has a special spell that can work where only their eyes can read it. If the spy master threatened you, and Edwin, with all due respect, your disposition, I don't think he's expecting you to tell us.
Yes, because that would be absolutely foolish of me to do, wouldn't it? Oh.
No, it was wise of you to do. Because if one of us sends that letter, why would he have any business reading that or checking or... Well, especially if he can't read it. But we have to let them know somehow.
I don't know what our next move is, what my next move be. But I do think that is a good plan for Via to help me write a note and one of you to send it.
Except for none of us have any reason to send a letter that way.
We had a
When
king's
you're-
hand. We have every reason to talk to other people, other foreign envoys, anything of the sort. We could even pose it as if we're requesting an envoy from the Nornathi. Would make sense if she is the daughter of the king for her to be sent.
No, but what Merrick is saying is true. Why would we, after a couple of days of this conversation, send out notice to the Nornathi?
We create a reason. We are newly declared as King's Hand. Perhaps we do it under the cover of requesting other envoys from other nations as well. What we do when they, well, potentially respond and agree, we'll deal with then. But for now, we just focus on getting her here. Yes.
Edwin,
Both of them.
Yes.
when you're here, do you ever communicate with anyone back in the Nornathi for your position, your former position, I suppose? Or do you go radio silent for a year, for lack of a better way to say it?
There's normally no communication to. You're speaking as my role as the liaison.
Mm-hmm.
Normally there are letters months before, speaking of my arrival and communications back and forth, but that is the most that there is. I have been keeping constant communication with Astrid. I send her letters. If you've seen me, that's what I've been writing, is letters to her to tell her what's going on over here. But I have not sent a letter in well over a week.
Have you informed anyone there that with your new position, the King's Hand, there's a chance you might not be coming back?
Not to anyone in station.
So what we could do is we could have you write a genuine letter and leave enough room for Via to write a secret message for Astrid or the King's Eyes Only, someone that you trust. If the letter's intercepted, they will see you reporting on your position as the King's Hand, but only in the hands of someone proper will they see a secret message.
Good work.
I'm just worried that if so quickly, after being appointed to the King's Hand, we start reaching out to the Nornathi, he'll suspect something. It has to be something that it'd be more suspicious if you didn't do it.
I think that's a good plan. A very good plan.
And then maybe when they get here, we can go from there. Good first step.
Good first step. I'm sorry I never told all of you. I truly am.
We all have secrets, Edwin. It is okay. But now we know. And now we can help.
Yes. Well, let's wrap up this conversation and go about our duties. We have a free day today.
Kaylin's gonna go give Edwin a hug.
Yeah, he'll hug you back.
While they're hugging, she's dead ass. She's in his ear. She's gonna say, "I can haunt his dreams for you if you want me to." I'm very serious.
Oh, I thought that was hypothetical.
No, Edwin. This is not okay.
I think we hold off on the haunting of dreams right now.
She gives you a squeeze. She doesn't say anything else.
Squeezes back.
We skip to the next day. The first petitioner is actually arriving rather early in the morning, about 9 a.m. Since you have two. You have one at 9 a.m. And then you have the final one, which was added just yesterday. Sir Otis of Gildarrow Keep will be arriving at 4 p.m. today. So with that, your fourth and final petitioner arrives. All of you see an individual that you knew was going to be here, and you have encountered several times on your journeys, on your journey so far. That is Sir Otis von Fem of Guild Arrowkeep, Burgrave of Guild Arrowkeep.
This guy.
Court
just smiles as he enters.
Court is assembled, human, mid-50s, grizzled veteran, sun-hardened skin, very strong jawline, trimmed facial hair, measured steps as he enters, decades of military service evident in the very fiber of his being. He watches the heirs as he enters and the court with this kind of cool detachment. He seems really calm right now. And as he begins to approach and to speak, he will say thank you to all of you as he says, "Before I begin, I would just like to thank all of you, lords and ladies and merchants, people of the court for being here, as well as the King's Hand for being ever so gracious to hear the words of this simple Burgrave. You are in my debt, and while I am saddened to not be able to make acquaintance with the King, the King's Hand is still a great honor." And he'll bow. And he will stand back up. And as he does, there's this, coolness that you see kind of come over him. None of you are super sure on Sir Otis's background. I mean, you know that he adventured for a time before becoming Burgrave of Gildarrow. And he has military experience, Xanthi, based off what he told you. But as he speaks, he has this charisma, this electric charisma that he's easy to listen to, and you can hear how passionate he is about what he speaks about. As he says, "Distinguished members of the King's Hand and the court, I stand before you not merely as a Burgrave of Gildarrow Keep, but as a man who has walked the breadth of this kingdom, of our kingdom, and witnessed both its glory and its vulnerabilities. There are voices in our realm who fear the growth of the Adarian Watch, who whisper that expanding the Crown's reach dishonors the Concord. These voices grow loud in comfortable halls, far from the realities faced by our common folk. But when bandits seize ancient keeps built with Adarian blood and Adarian stone, when farmers watch helplessly as their harvests are pillaged, when mothers teach their children to hide rather than how to thrive, I ask you, what good is a crown that cannot protect its people? King's Hand, I am here today to petition this court for a writ of approval to commission 1,000 additional Adarian Watch soldiers. This is not a request of gold. House Meloneth, House Astralor, and House Umbran, and 50 loyal Burgraves, myself included, have already pledged 15,000 gold pieces to ensure the defenders are equipped with the finest arms and armor our kingdom can provide. From Gildarrow Keep to every Burgrave holding throughout this realm, we will offer fortifications as a base of operations to ensure that these watchmen are well provisioned and well sheltered. We need only your approval to begin recruiting with troops ready to deploy before the year's end. Proper security measures, of course, will be rigorously maintained. Each Burgrave would submit regular reports to the Sentinel, the commander of the Adarian Watch, and directly to the King's Hand. No action would be taken without oversight. Most importantly, our citizens would no longer need to hire mercenaries of questionable loyalty to protect what is rightfully theirs. Instead, they would look to the crown, to you, as their guardians. This is my petition, not of gold, but permission to serve 1,000 swords, raised not in conquest, but in defense of what we hold dear. And his hand comes to rest on the pommel of his sword, standing tall. That is what I ask of the court, and that is what I ask of the King's Hand. If you have any questions or any concerns, I would do my best to answer them and quell any worries or fears you may have. You can see the court, for the most part, seem inclined on his side, especially the merchants.
I have a few questions.
Of course, my Lady Galen.
When you talk of expansion and protection, I feel as though we would all love a little bit more detail as to what exactly that means. Are you talking about patrolling roadways? Are you talking about setting up stations?
Of course. What I would mean to do, and what I believe would be best for the commander of the Adarian Watch to do, as at the end of the day, it would be entirely up to them to decide what is best to do with these soldiers. But considering my military experience in the Kingdom of Solele, I would say this. As of right now, there are 173 keeps of varying sizes within Adaria, built between kings and queens, monarchs, and then left abandoned. From what the Burgraves I've spoken with have said, there is an approximation of about 70 of those keeps that are currently held by bandits in our land. Almost half of the keeps that our great nation has are held by bandits, by outlaws. The first thing we would do is clear out those keeps. If the bandits fight, then we fight them. If they do not fight, if they surrender, then we take them alive, and we put them in the proper prisons and holds they need to go to. Once those keeps are cleared, units will be stayed there to ensure that they are protected and that the keeps are not taken again. Any soldiers that are left will patrol roadways, and not just the main roads. Side roads, pathways, the same pathways that led all of you to Rosemont. That is a road that is routinely undefended. You were what, 30 minutes away from the road? And attacked by bandits? If the heirs of our kingdom can fall prey to banditry on the side of the road, then I especially think something should be done about it.
Kaylin would continue, and she would say, right, thank you, that is a very good explanation, but I think my biggest concern here is, and maybe you can quell these concerns, there's a very fine line between feeling protected and feeling afraid. I just want to make sure that this presence doesn't become something that is going to cause fear or concern from those traveling the roads. I don't want a situation where they feel as though they can't go somewhere without having to be constantly checked over. And perhaps those keeps that you say are with bandits, we have to make sure that those aren't just refugees or people who just are looking for a place to call a home, you know? We have to be mindful of those traveling our roadways, and I guess I'm interested to know how you would ensure that people aren't feeling pressured.
Of course, my Lady Kaylin, I think that is of the utmost concern to me. And Kaylin, as you listen to him talk, no insight check necessary. You can tell that he is being very genuine. Safety does seem to be a very big concern for him. I think that many soldiers, as what we saw happened in Rosemont, how many soldiers, banner bearers died? Not many, but enough. Any amount of bloodshed for a pointless cause is too much. The soldiers we would train would be trained with restraint, to look, to examine, to study, and then to act. Not to act under emotion, but under logic. If there are refugees in camps, in keeps, well, what are they doing there when there are no provisions? And they could be attacked by bandits. We'd want to make sure that they are either protected in those places, if they are refugees, and then hopefully get them somewhere where they can receive help. Because I can guarantee you this, my lady. If a Darien Watch soldiers find refugees in an abandoned keep, they will receive help and care. Maybe after a small bit of questioning. If bandits find refugees in a keep, there's no value in their ransoms. They become ornaments on parapets. And that is just the harsh reality of the world we live in.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any more questions for Otis?
Nah, he can get the fuck out of here.
I don't know. Kaylin doesn't have anything, but she's looking at him like she's trying desperately to read this man. But, I mean,
Right.
other than that, that's all she's got. I mean, he made his case is a pretty good one.
I am very sorry. I must apologize. It doesn't feel right. I have not been entirely honest with the people of this court. And I am a man bound by honor and integrity as a burgrave, as a servant of the crown. This is not the first I have spoken with anyone of us. Several days ago, I met personally with Princess Xanthi Falkrest. I inquired with her about whether this would be a good idea or not, and if I would have support to do this. She said that the primary concern would be funding, considering how expensive it would be, and I apologize greatly, my princess, but deceit, it does not sit right with me.
Pause.
Mhm.
Mid-confession this guy's giving, looking over at Xanthi. What's her response to this?
Mhm.
I mean,
She has grabbed her
man,
trident, and she is mid
Yeah.
she is stone facing so hard.
that she's
But-
got crack.
Her siblings know her at this point. You can tell this pisses her off. But before anyone says anything, she will add, I had no intention on keeping it a secret for anyone in this court.
No, my princess, and I meant no ill doings on your part. I felt as though it was only proper that I say something, and I gravely apologize for not speaking with you about this beforehand. As I said, I am not one for politics. I am a soldier through and through, so I apologize gravely for not following decorum in this way. But it was with Princess Xanthi's word and with her approval that I was able to outreach to the other houses of Astralor, Alonith, and Umbran to receive that funding. It did not feel right for me to take all of the credit, but truthfully, what Princess Xanthi's word and writ of signature allowed us to gather. Although I spoke with the houses, I believe that this here is only possible because of not just the King's Hand, but especially Princess Xanthi.
Yeah, her face will definitely twist into being the complete opposite, complete 180 of just like, oh, okay, I see this now. And so she'll just continue. And as I shared with you then, it is of a most, well, respectful and honorable request to bring to the King's Hand, so that people do not need to fear their safety as they have. And so, of course, I'd open it to any of the other houses here to likewise give their support, to provide their own men, to provide their own funds, in protecting this mission of the crown.
Xanthi, you feel this, I don't know, something. You've always been stone-faced. People have always done what you've asked for out of deep respect. What almost to you sometimes seemed like compulsion. You know, you are the princess, the Iron Heir, and should they not do what you ask, they will reap the consequences. But this time, people listen to your words. They bite into them, they believe them. But as people, several noble houses, minor houses, they stand up. I will give my support, as will I. Mine as well. My support as well. And about 5 people, 5 minor lords and ladies, they stand up and they offer various amounts of gold, garnering an extra 5,000 gold to add to it. 20,000 gold now for these Adarian Watch soldiers. You can see Sir Otis, he is taken aback. My lady, my princess, you do me such a great honor with such a indomitable voucher of goodwill. And, well, I think it just goes to show what mountains the king's hand can move when they set their mind to it. All I require, then, to move forward with this is, well, the writ needs your signatures to make it official. As he pulls out the same writ that Xanthi had signed the other day, that goes through the contract, this sort of writ of approval for him to start reaching out to the commander of the Adarian Watch to start forming the bands, reaching out to the Burgraves, forging the equipment, all of that. So he brings the writ up to all of you, hands the same quill that Xanthi had used, and you can see
Her fucking signature's already there, huh?
her signature is already there.
Yeah, Kaylin's gonna take it. And she's pissed.
Okay. Sign.
During this whole thing, Edwin is like looking at Xanthi and Kaylin, like basically, you know, there's like a stare down almost happening. He looks over to Merrick. What's Merrick look like right now?
He looks cold. I mean, he looks like not quite the same as when you revealed your secret, but he ain't happy. I mean, you can see when he signs the paper, like, he almost pushes the quill hard enough that, like, the paper rips. It barely doesn't. As he finishes signing it.
Like I said, Kaylin is very shitty, but she's gonna sign it.
Thank you, my Lady Kaylin, my Prince Edwin, my Prince Merrick, Princess Octavia. And you can see he rolls up the writ, puts it in the leather container, and slings it over his shoulder. With post-haste, I will make my way to the commander of the Adarian Watch, and we will begin the process. Thank you, all of you. Gods be praised, and may next year be a much safer year for the people of our kingdom.
Yes, thank you, Otis. You may leave.
The court is dismissed.
And with that, he bows, and the court kind of gets up, and you can see there's whispers. It's what rings through. The king's hand cares about the welfare of the common man. In fact, Talon has been king for 20-some years, and he's done nothing of the such. It was the king's hand who made the people safer. That's what rings through. And then all of you are left
Are we allowed
alone.
to speak?
Left alone in here, well under your budget, with 4,500 gold left. I'm sure the council will be pleased.
Are we allowed to
Xanthi
speak?
looks so fucking pleased with herself right now, like.
So we were left with about 9 Xanthis. I just want everyone to know.
So, as
Are we allowed
the
to speak,
doors
Joe? No, you close
shut,
this session.
you can
I'm not.
you can see Master Brigsby. He like sees all of you standing there and just shuts the door behind him, leaving the 5 of you alone in there.
Kaylin immediately looks to Xanthi.
She's just smiling. Oh.
We were not supposed to meet with petitioners unless we were all present.
He was not petitioning me. He was
He
asking for
absolutely
advice.
was. No, that was a petition, Xanthi, and you signed it.
You also agreed to sign it. I do not understand why you're so upset
When
right
it
now.
was formally presented, I agreed to sign it. What happened to regulations and formalities, Xanthi? But it's okay for you to break the rules, but not for anyone else.
I was breaking no rules. The king's hand was not to meet and agree to see petitioners. But I am not the king's hand alone, now am I?
You think you are so slick and so clever. That man is up to something, and I don't know what it is, but we have all just signed it away.
You have
And
a
what-
problem with the Adarian Watch?
I have a problem with you. That was so underhanded. I had expected it from me, but not from you. Am I wrong? Kind of looks to Edwin and Merrick and Via.
No. I think that what just happened, Xanthi, was not the proper protocol that we should have done, nor was it what we discussed prior.
But it's okay because it's Xanthi, right? It's okay because it's beneficial to the kingdom, supposedly, right?
No.
No, but that's what your face is saying.
My face is saying, I hate confrontation.
You heard what he said. There are enough bandits in this kingdom. I'm sure everyone here has heard about what's happening. And the fact that there are now some draconic cult running around as well that we need to be concerned about. The fact that we are now without a sentinel that will be able to help manage the threats of this kingdom. Having extra protection is what is needed. And the Adarian Watch can provide that. It is their purpose to provide that, and too long it has been slacking in that. Think of your family, Edwin. It will be the Adarian Watch that will be able to help protect them.
You know what I've also heard? Some of these very men, these very Adarian Watch, are the same ones who are bullying those out on the road, who are tracking down my people, claiming that they are savages, and killing them in the street in cold blood. And now we've just signed on to allow that to continue to happen.
If you have problems with the Adarian Watch's operations, that is something you can voice otherwise. But that is not its purpose.
No, it's not.
In any instances where justice has not been carried out, that is not something that is co-signed, that is not something that is approved by the Watch. If you have a separate issue, you can address it yourself. But this is a good thing.
Okay, Xanthi. I can't wait to see how much good it does. And I can't wait for your name to be plastered all over it.
It's an
Merrick
action
gets
of
up
the
and
hands,
leaves.
I take no sides here. I am.
Win.
I.
Fine. Take no sides. You never do. You never do. Fine. Let's all just concede to whatever Xanthi wants. She's already doing it. She's already meeting with people without our knowledge. She's already making decisions. And then when it's presented in front of us, everyone's groveling at what she said and what she's already done. And then if we say no, what does that look like for the rest of us?
I was going to continue. Hold on, Kaylin. I do not like what you did, Xanthi. It was wrong. And it was dirty. You went behind our back and signed that petition, knowing full well, and I could see it on your face. Once he started talking praise of you in front of everyone, it put us in a position that we could not refuse. Had we had not signed that, the hand would have looked weak, the crown would have looked weak, and all of us would have looked weak, except for you. And I said I'd take...
Everyone was agreeing to it. Why would we not? This is what the people want. It's our responsibility to hear their wants and their requests.
It's not about the Adarian Watch. It's about how you went about doing it. You cannot go behind our back and talk to petitioners and sign things before we all can agree to it.
You do know that I met with Sir Otis here. I was not sneaking around. I was not going off and meeting with people. He came here, he asked for advice, and I gave it to him.
But you didn't tell us.
Edwin, it's not worth it. This is what we're doing. And this is how we're playing. And she's just given me permission.
No,
Kaylin's gonna
please.
leave.
No. Edwin looks directly at Xanthi. I saw your face up there. You were happy that this happened. Not because of the Ardarian Watch, but the process. Why? Why did you do that?
I don't understand why everyone's so upset with it. Do you not care for the safety of this kingdom?
Xanthi, we're not in front of politicians right now. We're in front of each other. Brother and sister. Don't talk to me like a politician. You know what you did. Why would you
What is it
sign
that I
that?
did?
You signed the petition without us. You didn't let us know, and you knew that had he brought this up in front of everyone in there, we would have been forced into a position to sign it, regardless of how we felt about it. Now, I don't have anything against the Ardarian Watch, but something is up with him and what he intends to do. I have a feeling, and I'm with Kaylin on that. Can't go behind our back on these things.
You had issue with it. You had every right to be able to speak out, Edwin. Not doing so is your choice. Not doing so is Kaylin's choice. I've made my choice, and I don't intend to keep things from the people. I would have always supported it. Whether it was in the past or whether it was right there. For as long as you're going to be back here, Edwin. Before, I'm sure you'll return to the Nornalthi. This is going to be what it is. This is going to be politics. That's why all of us are here. That is why all of us serve as the king's hand. That doesn't go away. Is there anything else you wish to say?
No.
Have a pleasant rest of your afternoon, brother. She'll walk off.
Edwin just stays there for like 10 minutes and then leaves.
Okay, sounds good. So with that, the king's hand once again divided after many days of fruitful progress towards unity and teamwork and legitimately working together cohesively. It seems like we're right back where we started a month ago. And at noon on the 27th of September, all of you are called to the council chambers for your next mission. We'll go ahead and cut to the council chambers. At that point, the door opens and a herald announces the King's Hand approaches as all 5 of you enter. My children, please join us. We have a few matters of grave importance to discuss. You can see Lady Alaris moves away from Lord Gareth, her eyes keen on each one of you, and says, I trust all of you have rested after the ordeal with Rainier and the petitioners.
Yes, more than enough.
You can see Sir Davian, right after you speak, Edwin, says, yes, rest is a luxury in these times, isn't it? Have the healers made any progress with Rainier's wounds?
They
It
are.
seems to be at least stabilizing.
Ah.
So we can ask for now.
Very good
But
indeed.
there's much more that will need to be handled later.
As there always is with such events when they transpire.
Do you need something to help you get more restful sleep? You look as though you could use some more hours.
No, just some tossing and turning in the middle of the night. Nothing that a little bit of sleep reagent won't help.
Kaylin smiles.
And with that, Talon will kind of raise his hand and say, before we begin, he stands, I have to draw attention to one very clear fact. This council is not complete. The Archmage is occupied with the studying of the eggs you recovered, but the Sentinel's chair sits empty for reasons all of us are too familiar with. And you see he stares for a long time at Rainier's seat. Which brings us to why you've all been summoned. The realm needs a new Sentinel until your uncle recovers. But that's not where it ends. I have 2 missions for the King's Hand. So moving over towards the map, he points to Skyhaven, the ancestral seat of House Falkrest. First, you'll journey to Skyhaven. You will begin to organize and host a festival to attract heroes from across the world, hopefully mostly from Adaria, so they're familiar with our history, and they will compete for the honor of becoming the next Sentinel. All of you will be responsible for hosting that and organizing it, making sure that we get the best of the best, and whoever fills Rainier's seat, although they may not be as talented, they hopefully will at least be comparable. Lady Auris will step forward and say, "We'll travel to Skyhaven ahead of you and aid your preparations. Whatever the King's Hand may need, supplies, counsel, I shall provide you the connections necessary to gather those supplies." Xanthi, I'd like you to take point on planning this event. Your attention to detail during my last birthday was, well, it was impeccable.
Naturally, I thank you for the honor.
However, a very important caveat here. Any decision you make, you need to have the approval of the majority of your siblings. If you do not have the majority of the approval, you need to negotiate. So, you all hear that, right?
Yes.
I
Father.
hear it. I
We
don't
do.
know Xanthi did.
Yes, I heard there were some complications within the Chamber of the King's Hand yesterday.
We all reached mutual agreement, though.
Yes. 1,000 additional Adarian watch. I hear all of you are being hailed as the saviors of the countryside. Good for you. Glad something's being done about it.
All in the Crown's name, of course.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Should we carry on?
Yes. Yes, we should. Speaking of the petitioners, there was approximately 4,500 gold remaining after that, correct?
Yes.
That will become part of your personal fund. It seems as though everything went well. That wasn't just because of one of you, I must stress. As I hear it, all of you did something. The way that you questioned, the way that you spoke, the way that you carried yourself, or the way that you supported your siblings, and ensuring that you showed strength and, at least in the first three, communication between the five of you. I must stress, though, although it is good that the countryside is safer, it is important that we all are working together. We're all on the same team here. If any of you run into a situation where someone comes to you, petitioning you or speaking with you, and it seems as though they have ulterior motives, do not hide that from each other. I know that it can feel like all of you are against each other. But my biggest regret in life is that when Edamir and I were at each other's throats, I didn't just talk to him. I didn't try and come to an agreement. I lashed out in anger. And I know when emotions are high, that is hard to do. Believe me, I know better than most of you what it's like to have a sibling that despises you. Do not fall prey to the wolves of the court. The moment that you assume that everyone views you as a predator, you become prey. Is that clear?
Very.
Good. In terms of the second mission, he points to another location on the map, Faithspire, the seat of power of House Emberlin. Your second mission concerns Lady Iridessa Emberlin. We have received no correspondence from her in weeks, and messages come in from various spies of Davian that they're being turned away by the priests at the rectory gates. We fear that something may have happened to her. Now, for both missions, you will have a combined allowance of 50,000 gold pieces. Edwin, I'm entrusting you will manage these funds. This will cover all expenses related to the festival of recruiting the next Sentinel. That will not be cheap. Everything for that mission will come from that fund. Your travel there, whatever guards you want, whatever provisions you need, I would implore you to not spend such a great sum frivolously. Understand?
Understood.
All right. Very good. His gaze sweeps across all of you, and it stops on Kalen. Hopefully, all of this business is resolved by the 28th of October. It's Kalen's birthday, and I would hate for all of you to be away on such an important day. Be safe. Do what's right by the crown, and work together. All right? That's what's most important for me. Is that all of you learn the strengths that each other has. In your reports that you gave after Rosemont, at least on one occasion, each and every single one of you spoke highly of another individual. For some of you, on multiple occasions, you spoke of multiple people highly. You can see the good in each other. Do not lose that, right?
Of course, I think it's always important to let petty grievance or anger not cloud our judgments. And she's just gonna smile at Caitlin.
I can hear Gemma smiling while she's going, God damn.
Xanthi, I understand your desire to be coy considering your great victory yesterday. That is your sister. You will treat her with the respect that she deserves. Much more than what you give her now. Do you hear me?
Of course. And I meant no disrespect.
Very good. No disrespect was taken. All right? Any questions?
Now Kaylin's smiling shittily at Danny.
Kaylin? All right. Any questions?
When do you need us to leave?
Today, if you can. If you can't charter travel today, that's fine tomorrow, but the sooner you can resolve these issues, the better. Every single day there is no sentinel is a day that we are weaker. All right?
All right.
Very good. I have faith in all of you. I believe in all of you. I love all of you very dearly, and I want you to succeed. Right? And in case I didn't say it to each and every single one of you after what happened in Rosemont, but I am proud of each of you for the ways you showcased your talents, your skills, and your ability to be a leader in Rosemont. All right, you're dismissed. Best of luck on your journeys and on your missions.
Thank you, my king.
Eric leaves.
Okay. All right. With that, all of you exit. But with that, that is where we're going to go ahead and end tonight's session.
Whoa. We got another whole hour. What you mean?
We got all another hour? What you mean? What you mean? We got
I don't know.
we got 10
Daylight
minutes left at the
savings.
most. All right. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. I know I did. I'm sponsored by Party Loot. Go check it out. Use it, you freaking
Nerds.
idiot. Yeah, dude. No, I'm just kidding. You're not idiots. You're all great people, okay? Streaming. Bye, everybody. We did not have fun.